Welcome back. I am Katie Key. You are receiving this video because you have signed up for my free Montessori Homeschooling Kickstarter pack. So today we are going to go over the sandpaper numbers. If you haven't made them tactile, you can do so by just adding glitter glue and letting it dry. That's the easiest thing to do, just regular glitter glue. You can also do school glue and real sand and shake it off, but you'll get sometimes tiny sand particles. The glitter glue works great. So I have my sandpaper numbers, and what I'm gonna choose to do is do 3 or 4 of them at once. So you should have already done some of the number rods, if not all of the number rods, and worked with them a lot before you introduce what the actual numbers look like, how we write the numbers. A lot of times you'll see the distinction of a number and a numeral. So a number is like a number of things, like 2 things, like the quantity of 2. And the numeral is the way that we write the number 2. So I go back and forth between saying number and numeral, but in case you're wondering, that is the distinction. So you want them to understand, your child to understand numbers before you show them numerals, before we show them how the numbers are actually written. But the sandpaper numbers are great because you can have them trace flat numbers, but they don't really know if they're doing it wrong, because if you close your eyes, it all feels the same. So by making them tactile, by using the glitter glue or the sand, and when your child traces, he or she will know kind of when they veered off track. So 3 fun ways to use the sandpaper numbers. Are you ready? So number 1 is you want to introduce them. So after you've done the number rods and your child has a good grasp on them, introduce the sandpaper numbers. I've chosen 4. You may want to choose 2. You may want to choose 3. You may want to do all of them at once. It really just depends on where your child is and his or her ability. So I've chosen 4. So what I would do is I would stack them, and I would pick up the first one, and I would show my child, this says 1. 1. And I would use my 2 fingers to trace, put it in front of your child, and invite your child to trace and say the number 3 times. 1, 1, 1. And you can go through your stack 1, 2, 3, and 4 and tracing. And then continue if your child is ready. And the second thing you want to do, the second fun activity you can do with your child is before actually asking your child, like, oh, where's 1, where's 2, where's 3? I like to pair the 1, 2, the numbers with amounts as I'm introducing them. So this says 1, remember? 1. This is 1, 1. You can choose identical, anything identical. So like I have these, it's October now, so I have all of these little pumpkins from an October in the past. So we're using these little jack-o'-lanterns. So this is 2, 1, 2. These are 2 jack-o'-lanterns. This says 2. This is 1, this says 1. This is 2, this says 2. Let's try 3. 1, 2, 3. This is 3. This says 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 4. This says 4. I put the exact number of counters in my little container as I would need for the numbers I was introducing. That may work out for you and it may not, and it's okay. Don't get hung up on the tiny little details. When you're working one-on-one with your child, I don't think it has to be as strict as it is in like a Montessori album or in a Montessori classroom. So just keep that in mind. Don't be so hard on yourself. Do what you can with what you have and the knowledge you have, and your child will be fine. So that's a really great way. And then do that for all 10 of the numbers. So attach amounts to all 10. So game number 3, after you've introduced the numbers by themselves, the number cards by themselves, the sandpaper numbers, they've traced them, And then you added the counters all the way up to 9, 0 to 9, or 1 to 10, whatever you have. You can play a fetch game. So mix them up, put them across the room and say, bring me 3. And your child can bring you 3. Or you can give them, bring me the number that says this many. And then your child will count 1, 2, 3 and go run across the room and bring you 3. And that is another fun way to use it. And as a bonus, if you're not already doing this, get a sensory tray, like a tray, a shallow dish or Tupperware or tray. Fill it with cornmeal or salt or sand and invite your child to trace the number and then trace it in sand. Way before you ever ask your child to start writing the number with a pencil, your child will be able to write in sand. Go to the beach, do it in the sand if you can, go to the lake. Do it somewhere where your child can get, dirty, messy, and use all of his or her senses. So that's a fun way to introduce numbers. We're gonna do one more video that's part of this little mini training series, and it is the colored bead stare, the short bead bars. So I hope to see you in your inbox tomorrow.